The RSS Horizon drifted silently through the darkness of deep space, its hull gleaming under the distant starlight. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the endless expanse before her. After 6 months of their deep space research mission, the crew had settled into a comfortable routine. Until today. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant James Rodriguez's voice carried an unusual edge of excitement. Sarah turned from the window to find her sensor officer's fingers dancing across his console. "We're picking up energy readings unlike anything in our database." Sarah moved to his station, studying the oscillating patterns on his screen. After 15 years in deep space research, she learned to trust her instincts. These readings weren't random. They held a pattern too precise to be natural. Location: bearing 047, Mark 23, about 3 light hours from our position. Rodriguez adjusted his instruments, trying to get a clearer reading. "Whatever it is, it's big. Really big." Dr. Emily Watson, the ship's lead xenologist, joined them at the console. Her expertise in alien civilizations had seemed almost redundant during their mission. Until now. These energy signatures, they're structured, almost like they're meant to be noticed. Sarah made her decision. "Helm, set course to investigate. All departments, preparation for potential first contact protocols." As the Horizon altered course, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The energy signature grew stronger as they approached, revealing more of its complexity. It wasn't just a signal. It was a message, written in the universal language of mathematics. Hours later, the source of the readings came into view. Floating in space was a massive structure, its surface covered in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. It was clearly artificial, but unlike anything human engineers had ever conceived. "It's a test," Emily announced suddenly, her eyes wide with realization. She'd been analyzing the mathematical patterns encoded in the energy signature. The structure is broadcasting a series of increasingly complex problems. Each solution reveals more of the message. Sarah leaned forward, intrigued. "Can you solve them?" "Some," Emily replied. "But they're getting harder. The latest ones involve theoretical physics beyond our current understanding." The bridge crew worked through the night, tackling the mysterious puzzles. As they solved each one, new patterns emerged, telling a story of a galaxy far more complex and interconnected than they'd imagined. "Commander," Rodriguez called out, his voice tense. "We're being scanned. Something's analyzing our responses to the puzzles." Before Sarah could respond, the structure's surface rippled like liquid metal. A beam of light shot out, coalescing into a holographic form. The alien being that appeared before them was tall and slender, with crystalline features that caught and reflected the starlight. "Greetings, children of Earth," the being spoke, its words somehow translating directly into their minds. "You have shown remarkable aptitude in solving our initial trials, but these were merely the beginning." Sarah stepped forward. "I am Commander Sarah Chen of the research ship Horizon. We come seeking knowledge and peaceful contact." The alien's crystalline features shifted in what might have been amusement. "Knowledge. Yes, you seek it, but more importantly, you understand how to use it. While other species simply memorize solutions, you seek to understand the principles behind them." "Other species?" Emily asked, unable to contain her curiosity. "How many have found this place?" "Many," the alien replied. "But few have responded as you have. Most see our puzzles as mere obstacles to overcome. You see them as opportunities to learn." The alien gestured, and the space around them filled with holographic displays showing various worlds and civilizations. The galaxy faces challenges that no single species can solve alone. We have watched and waited for those with the potential to help address them. And you think we might be able to help? Sarah asked, studying the displays. They showed problems on a scale humans had never encountered. Dying stars, collapsing space-time, and phenomena that defied their current understanding of physics. Your species is young, the alien acknowledged. Your technology is primitive compared to many, but you possess something rare. The ability to see beyond the obvious, to find solutions where others see only impossibilities. The holographic displays focused on Earth's history, humans overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges, working together to solve problems that should have been beyond their capabilities. We offer you a choice, the alien continued. You can return to your world with the knowledge that you are not alone in the universe, or you can accept our challenge, to join a coalition of species working to preserve the galaxy itself. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. Humanity had always pushed boundaries, always reached for what seemed impossible. This was just the next step in that journey. We accept your challenge, Sarah declared, standing tall. Whatever problems the galaxy faces, humanity will do its part to help solve them. The alien's form shimmered with what might have been approval. Then let the true tests begin. Remember, the solutions you seek may not lie in advanced technology alone, but in your unique way of viewing the universe. As the alien's form faded, the structure began transmitting new data, information about technologies, phenomena, and challenges beyond human understanding. But mixed with the advanced science was something else, a message that would soon reach Earth. You are not alone, and your help is needed. The RSS Horizon had embarked on a routine research mission. Instead, they'd found humanity's invitation to join something far greater than themselves. The real question was, were they ready for what came next? The news of the Horizon's encounter spread across Earth like wildfire. In the 3 weeks since their return, humanity had been grappling with the revelation that not only were they not alone in the universe, but they had been specifically chosen to help address galaxy-spanning challenges. At the United Earth Council headquarters in Geneva, Commander Chen stood before representatives from every nation, her uniform crisp despite her exhaustion. The holographic data from the alien structure projected behind her, filling the chamber with ethereal light. The entity, which identifies itself as part of a collective called the Galactic Conservatory, has presented us with their most pressing concern, Sarah explained, bringing up a new hologram. It showed a massive tear in the fabric of space-time, slowly expanding across an entire sector of the galaxy. They call it the Void Cascade. Dr. Watson stepped forward, her expertise in sinology now more valuable than ever. According to the data we received, this phenomenon has already consumed 3 star systems. More importantly, it's accelerating. The conservatory estimates we have roughly 1 Earth year before it begins affecting major population centers. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Admiral Marcus Hayes, the gruff veteran who headed Earth's Space Force, spoke up. 1 year. With all due respect, even our most advanced ships would take decades to reach that sector. How exactly are we supposed to help? That's where this comes in. Sarah gestured, and a hologram shifted to show complex mathematical equations. The conservatory has provided us with theoretical frameworks for faster-than-light travel. But here's the catch. They're incomplete. Incomplete. The Chinese representative leaned forward. Why would they give us incomplete information for such a crucial technology? Dr. Watson answered, her eyes bright with understanding. Because this isn't just about solving the Void Cascade. It's about proving we can innovate, adapt, and overcome challenges in our own way. The conservatory wants to see how we approach problems, not just if we can solve them. The room fell silent as the implications stank in. Humanity wasn't just being asked to help, they were being tested. The conservatory wanted to see if they truly deserved a place among the galaxy's problem solvers. We're not the only species they've approached, Sarah continued. But we're the only ones at our technological level who've been invited to participate. Most others they contacted were centuries ahead of us in development. And how many accepted the challenge? Someone asked from the back. 3, Sarah replied. Out of 27 contacted civilizations, the others deemed it too risky or impossible given the time frame. Admiral Hayes snorted. Maybe they're the smart ones. We're talking about developing faster than light travel in months, not decades. It's insane. With all due respect, Admiral, Dr. Watson interjected. Humanity's greatest achievements have often been called insane before they were accomplished. The moon landing, Mars colonization, the quantum neural network, all were considered impossible until we did them. The council chambers buzzed with discussion. The challenge seemed impossible, yet the opportunity it presented was equally impossible to ignore. Humanity had always dreamed of the stars, and now they were being offered a chance to join a community of advanced civilizations, if they could prove themselves worthy. There's more, Sarah added, her voice cutting through the noise. The conservatory shared something else with us. Data about the other species who accepted the challenge. The hologram shifted again, showing 3 distinct alien civilizations. The first resembled crystalline structures that communicated through light patterns. The second were beings of pure energy, capable of existing in multiple dimensions. The third were synthetic life forms, having long since transcended their biological origins. Each of these species has technology centuries beyond ours, Sarah explained. They're approaching the void cascade from their own perspectives. The crystalline collective is focusing on energy manipulation. The luminous ones are exploring dimensional physics. The synthetic unity is applying computational solutions. And what exactly do they expect us to contribute? Admiral Hayes asked, voicing the doubt many felt. We're centuries behind them in every field. Dr. Watson smiled. Maybe that's exactly why we were chosen. We're not bound by centuries of established scientific doctrine. We can think outside their box because we haven't built our own box yet. The chamber erupted in debate again, but there was a different tone now. The initial fear and doubt were being replaced by something else. Determination. It was the same spirit that had driven humans to cross oceans, reach for the stars, and overcome every obstacle in their path. The United Earth Council's vote was unanimous. Humanity would accept the challenge. Within days, research centers around the world were reproposed. The quantum neural network was expanded, linking scientists across the globe in unprecedented collaboration. Every scrap of data from the alien structure was analyzed, debated, and tested. The first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a graduate student in theoretical physics, noticed something everyone else had missed. The incomplete FTL frameworks weren't just missing information. They were puzzles in themselves. Each gap represented a question. Not just how would you solve this, but how would you think about solving this? They're not testing our technology, Yuki explained to the Research Council. They're testing our methodology, how we approach problems, how we think, how we innovate. This realization changed everything. Instead of trying to match the advanced civilization's technological level, humanity began playing to its strengths. They started looking for unconventional solutions, approaching the challenge from angles the other species might never consider. As the first month drew to a close, Earth had become a hive of focused activity. In labs across the planet, humans were doing what they did best, refusing to accept impossible odds. They weren't just trying to solve the challenge. They were determined to prove that sometimes the most primitive species could see things that the most advanced ones missed. The race against time had begun, and humanity was determined to show the galaxy what they could do. Not with advanced technology or centuries of scientific progress, but with the one thing that had always set them apart: the ability to find hope and possibility in the face of impossible odds. 3 months into the challenge, the first prototype of humanity's faster-than-light drive took shape in the orbital shipyards above Earth. Unlike the sleek, crystalline vessels of the advanced civilizations, the human ship looked almost crude, a patchwork of conventional materials and experimental components that seemed to defy engineering logic. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the observation deck of the orbital station, watching as construction drones swarmed around the experimental vessel. Behind her, representatives from the Galactic Conservatory observed in silence, their crystalline forms reflecting the Earth's blue glow. "It looks primitive, doesn't it?" Maya asked, not turning around. Compared to your ships, it must seem like we're building with sticks and stones. The lead observer, who had introduced itself as Nexus, moved forward. We do not understand your approach. The theoretical framework we provided clearly indicated the need for quantum crystalline matrices, yet you are using modified conventional materials. Maya smiled. We can't manufacture quantum crystalline matrices with our current technology, so we had to ask ourselves, what's the underlying principle, and how can we achieve the same effect with materials we can actually make? The prototype ship, dubbed Pioneer, represented humanity's unconventional approach to the challenge. Unable to match the advanced technology of other species, Earth's scientists had instead focused on understanding the fundamental principles behind the alien science. In the ship's engineering bay, Chief Engineer David Okoro was explaining their approach to another group of observers. See, the quantum crystalline matrices you use are perfect for manipulating space-time because of their molecular alignment. But we found that by using layers of graphene and modified metamaterials, we can create a similar effect. It's not as elegant, but it should not work, one of the observers interrupted. The energy requirements alone would make it impossible. David grinned. That's where human ingenuity comes in. We couldn't match your power generation technology, so we changed the equation. Instead of trying to brute force our way through space-time, we're going to slip through the cracks. The observers exchanged what might have been confused looks. Human solutions often had this effect on them. They seemed impossible, inefficient, even dangerous by advanced civilization standards. Yet time and again, they worked. In the ship's command center, Commander Chen was reviewing final preparations with her crew. The Pioneer would carry humanity's hopes into its first faster-than-light test flight, but Sarah had insisted on having a human crew. The conservatory had recommended automated testing, but humans understood something the advanced species had forgotten. Sometimes you needed human intuition when pushing into the unknown. All systems check complete, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station. Though I have to say, Commander, I never thought I'd be monitoring faster-than-light systems with modified smartphone processors. Sarah smiled. The Pioneer's computer systems were another example of human improvisation. Unable to create the quantum computers used by advanced species, they had instead networked thousands of modified conventional processors together, creating a system that was messy but effective. Dr. Watson entered the command center, her tablet displaying the latest data from their alien observers. They're fascinated by our approach, she reported. Apparently, the other species are all trying to perfect the technology they were given. We're the only ones trying to reinvent it. Of course we are, Sarah replied. We can't match their technology, so we have to think differently. It's what humans do best. The test flight was scheduled for the next day. As the crew made their final preparations, Maya found herself back on the observation deck, this time alone with Nexus. Your species continues to perplex us, the alien observer stated. Your solutions are inefficient, imperfect, often dangerous. Yet you pursue them with absolute conviction. Maya considered this. Maybe that's because we've never had the luxury of perfection. Throughout our history, humans have had to make do with what we had, not what we wished we had. It's taught us that sometimes the best solution isn't the most elegant one. It's the one that works. And if it does not work, Nexus asked, then we try something else. We adapt, we learn, we improvise. It's not just about solving the problem. It's about finding new ways to approach it. As if to emphasize her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. The Pioneer's experimental drive had begun to show unexpected energy fluctuations. While the alien observers watched in alarm, the human crew sprang into action. Within minutes, David and his engineering team had identified the problem. Their makeshift quantum field generators were creating interference patterns no one had predicted. Instead of shutting down the test, however, they began adjusting their systems on the fly. Look at these patterns, Maya pointed out to Nexus, showing the energy readings. They're not failing. They're synchronizing in a way we didn't expect. Our imperfect systems are finding their own way to stability. The alarms gradually silenced as the ship's systems settled into a new equilibrium. It wasn't the perfect stability the alien technology would have provided, but it was stable enough to work with. More importantly, it had taught them something new about the nature of space-time manipulation. Tomorrow, Maya said to Nexus, we're going to attempt something that should be impossible with our level of technology. We might fail, but even if we do, we'll learn from it, and the next attempt will be better. As the Earth turned below them, the Pioneer stood ready for its historic test. It wasn't the most advanced ship in the galaxy, far from it, but it represented something unique: humanity's ability to face impossible challenges with ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to try solutions that no advanced civilization would ever consider. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most primitive approach could yield the most surprising results. The moment of truth arrived with little fanfare. As the Pioneer prepared for its first faster-than-light test, the orbital station's observation deck was crowded with both human scientists and alien observers. The tension in the air was palpable. "All systems are go." Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm system. "Drive stability at 87%. Not perfect, but within acceptable parameters." Commander Chen's voice followed. "Beginning final countdown. All emergency protocols are in place. If anything goes wrong, we'll abort immediately." The alien observers exchanged concerned looks. By their standards, 87% stability was far too risky for a test flight. The Crystalline Collective wouldn't attempt such a jump with less than 99% stability. The luminous ones required perfection. Yet here were the humans, ready to risk everything on a system that was barely holding together. 10 seconds to jump initiation," Sarah announced. The Pioneer's makeshift drive began to hum, creating harmonics that shouldn't have been possible with such primitive technology. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ship disappeared in a flash of light that wasn't quite light, a ripple in reality that seemed to bend the space around it. On the monitoring stations, data streamed in as the Pioneer transmitted its status through the quantum entanglement communicator, another piece of advanced technology the humans had jury-rigged to work with their systems. "Position confirmed," Maya shouted, her eyes fixed on the readings. "They've done it. There. Her voice trailed off as she double-checked the coordinates. Nexus moved to look at her screen, its crystalline form flickering with what might have been surprise. "This cannot be correct. These readings suggest they've traveled further than should be possible with their energy output." The Pioneer had not only achieved faster-than-light travel, it had somehow exceeded the theoretical maximum distance for its power level. It was as if the laws of physics had looked at humanity's makeshift solution and decided to make an exception. "Commander Chen, are you receiving?" Maya called into the comm. There were several seconds of tense silence before Sarah's voice came through, slightly distorted but clear. "We're here, Control, and you're not going to believe what we're seeing." The Pioneer had emerged in a region of space that should have been impossible to reach with their level of technology. More importantly, they had arrived precisely where they needed to be, within scanning range of the Void Cascade. "Transmitting visual data now," Rodriguez reported. The observation deck's main screen filled with an image that made everyone, human and alien alike, fall silent. The Void Cascade was more terrifying than any simulation had suggested. It was a tear in the fabric of reality itself, a wound in space-time that seemed to devour light and matter alike. But something about it caught Maya's attention. "The pattern," she whispered, stepping closer to the screen. "Look at the way it's spreading. It's not random." The other scientific teams, the Crystalline Collective, the Luminous Ones, and the Synthetic Unity, had been studying the cascade for months with their advanced technology. They had focused on containing it, trying to halt its expansion through brute force. But the humans, with their primitive sensors and jury-rigged equipment, saw something different. "It's like a wave," Maya explained, quickly pulling up analytical models. not just destroying space-time, but redistributing it. The advanced sensors were too precise. They were looking at individual points of failure. Our crude instruments let us see the bigger picture. David's voice came over the comm, excited despite the static. The quantum field fluctuations from our drive. They're interacting with the cascade in unexpected ways. Our imperfect system might actually be showing us something the perfect ones missed. The alien observers watched in fascination as the humans began to do what they did best: improvise. Instead of trying to contain or destroy the cascade, they began to study how their makeshift FTL drive affected it. The drive's instability, which should have been a weakness, was creating interference patterns that seemed to calm the temporal distortions. "It's like fighting fire with fire," Sarah explained to the observers. "Our drive creates its own small instabilities in spacetime. When they interact with the cascade's larger instabilities, they create a dampening effect." The discovery sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The three advanced civilizations had been approaching the problem with their perfect technology and flawless calculations, but it was humanity's imperfect solution that had revealed the key to understanding the phenomenon. "We need to share this data with the other teams," Maya insisted. "Our drive technology, combined with their understanding of space-time manipulation, we might be able to develop a solution together." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the Pioneer conducted more detailed scans of the cascade. Each piece of data revealed more about the nature of the phenomenon, and more importantly, about how humanity's unique approach might help address it. "Your species continues to surprise us," Nexus commented to Maya as they reviewed the findings. "You took our advanced principles, and instead of trying to perfect them, you broke them down and rebuilt them in ways we never considered." Maya smiled. "Sometimes the best way to understand something is to break it down to its basics and build it back up. We couldn't match your technology, so we had to understand the principles behind it. And in doing so, we saw things from a different angle." The Pioneer's successful test had done more than prove humans could achieve faster-than-light travel. It had demonstrated that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their knowledge, but in their ability to find unexpected solutions, to see patterns others missed, and to make the impossible possible through sheer determination and ingenuity. As the ship prepared for its return journey, Sarah looked out at the void cascade one last time. Humanity had taken its first steps into the galactic community, not by following in the footsteps of advanced civilizations, but by blazing their own trail. The real work was just beginning, but they had proven something important. Sometimes the most primitive solution could be exactly what was needed to solve the most advanced problems. 2 months after the Pioneer's historic flight, the orbital shipyards above Earth had been transformed. Where once a single experimental vessel had stood, now a fleet of ships took shape, each incorporating the lessons learned from that first imperfect jump. But these weren't just human vessels anymore. They represented something unprecedented in galactic history. The Crystalline Collective had contributed their expertise in energy manipulation, helping to stabilize the human-designed drive systems. The Luminous Ones had shared their understanding of dimensional physics, while the Synthetic Unity provided computational support that helped predict and control the cascade effects. But at the heart of each ship was humanity's original innovation: the ability to work with imperfection rather than against it. Commander Chen stood on the bridge of the new flagship, Harmony, watching his crews from all 4 species work together to prepare for the upcoming mission. The ship herself was a testament to this cooperation. Crystalline arrays merged with human metals, energy conduits pulsed with multidimensional power, and synthetic interfaces adapted to accommodate all forms of consciousness. "It's quite remarkable," Nexus observed, its crystalline form now a familiar sight on human vessels. "In all our records, there has never been such integration between species of such different technological levels." Sarah smiled. "Maybe that's because everyone was too focused on technological advancement rather than technological adaptation. Sometimes you need someone who doesn't know something's impossible to find a new way to make it possible." The void cascade had continued to grow, but its progression had slowed significantly since the combined fleet began their intervention. The human discovery about the nature of the phenomenon had led to a completely new approach. Instead of trying to stop the cascade directly, they were working to guide and reshape it, using the very principles that made their improvised FTL drives work. In the ship's research lab, Maya and David worked alongside scientists from all 4 species. The room was a chaos of different technologies. Holographic displays merged with traditional screens, crystalline computers interfaced with modified human tablets, and in the center, a real-time model of the void cascade slowly shifted and changed as they refined their understanding. The latest simulations are promising, Maya reported as Sarah entered the lab. By combining our drive's interference patterns with the crystalline collective's energy manipulation, we can actually predict where the cascade will try to expand next. The luminous ones can then create dimensional barriers while the synthetic unity calculates the most efficient points of intervention. But the key, David added, is still the human element. The ability to adapt when things don't go according to plan, to find solutions in the moment rather than waiting for perfect conditions. The first major test of their combined approach was scheduled for the next day. The fleet would attempt to not just contain the void cascade, but to begin reversing its effects. It was an ambitious plan, one that would never have been attempted if humans hadn't shown that sometimes the riskiest solution was the only viable one. As the fleet moved into position, Sarah received an unexpected message. The Galactic Conservatory, the mysterious group that had first contacted humanity, requested to address the combined fleet. On the main screen, a being appeared, not crystalline like the observers, but somehow more fundamental, as if it was woven from the fabric of space-time itself. "Children of Earth," it began, its voice resonating through all forms of communication simultaneously. "When we first set our test in motion, we sought to find species capable of helping preserve the galaxy. What we found in you was something far more valuable." The beam's form shifted, showing images of human history, not just their technological achievements, but their responses to disasters, their ability to adapt and survive, their willingness to help others even at great cost to themselves. "Your technology is primitive, your understanding of the universe limited, but you possess something that many advanced civilizations have lost: the ability to see possibility in imperfection, to find strength in adaptation rather than perfection, and to face the impossible with determination rather than resignation." The images changed to show the recent months. Humans working alongside ancient species, sharing their unique perspectives, teaching the advanced civilizations to see problems in new ways. The void cascade was real, but it was also a test, not just of your ability to solve problems, but of your ability to inspire others to solve them differently. You have reminded the galaxy of something it had forgotten. That progress comes not just from advancing technology, but from advancing perspective. Sarah looked around her bridge, at the humans and aliens working together, at the fleet that represented the best of all their civilizations. "We still have a lot to learn," she said to the being. "We're far behind the other species in many ways." "Perhaps," the being replied, "but you have taught them something equally valuable. That sometimes the longest-held assumptions must be challenged, that the messiest solutions can be the most effective, and that the strongest civilizations are not those with the most advanced technology, but those with the most adaptable spirits." The beam's form began to fade. The galaxy faces many challenges, some even greater than the void cascade. But together, combining the wisdom of the ancient with the innovation of the young, you will face them. This is humanity's true gift to the galaxy, not knowledge or technology, but hope. The hope that comes from knowing that no problem is truly impossible, no solution too primitive to consider, and no species too young to contribute. As the being vanished, Sarah turned to her crew, human and alien alike. The void cascade still loomed before them, a challenge that would require everything they had learned together. But they would face it as they had faced every challenge, with determination, ingenuity, and the understanding that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe was not the most advanced technology, but the willingness to try what others thought impossible. The fleet moved forward, carrying with them not just the hopes of Earth or their individual species, but a new vision of what the galaxy could be, a place where ancient wisdom and new perspectives worked together, where imperfect solutions could solve perfect problems, and where humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos was not what they knew, but how they thought. The stars stretched before them, full of challenges and possibilities, and humanity had finally found its place among them, not as the most advanced species, but as the ones who reminded the galaxy that sometimes the most primitive question was the most important one. Why not try?